Yeah. Good morning. It's Monday. It's spring equinox. Just like in the description. What's up, everybody? Good morning. We're trying to simulcast on. Remember that term, simulcast, when they would do the TV thing with the radio thing, like on concerts and stuff. I'm simulcasting on Facebook as well. So the Snorelord has the Snorelord, like I talk about myself in the third person. There is a Snorelord Facebook page. So, good morning. I hope everyone is well. I hope spring will get here soon enough. It's been chilly this weekend. Oh, for the last few days, it's kind of got on my nerves. And it's made getting things done around here that I need to get before hitting the road difficult because of the cold and some of the weather we've been getting. And I'm sure some of you are dealing with some difficulty going on the West Coast. You know, a lot of rain, a lot of snow going on out there. So we can take a look at that real quick. I have not been religious about the weather here lately. I turn it on, put it on mute because everything. I've got a few other things that have got my attention this morning. Plus, there's not much. I've got 2 trucks dispatched this week, maybe a third or fourth if things work out correctly. There's one of them right there, Mr. Zimmer, ready to get back to work tomorrow. Good deal, man. Make some money. So to pay for all that off time, right? So, anyways, let's take a look at the weather here real quick. And say quite a few times. So all this is a freeze warning, I believe, in the southeast there. Yep, freeze warning. So that's interesting right there. That's the same cold spell that's kind of got us. And it's spring, so people are probably planting things and having to protect plants and all that. Other than that, most of the snow is in Nevada. Nevada is the bad state. Colorado as usual. Or I'm sorry, Utah. Don't know my geography. And then of course Colorado. And then it looks like northern Arizona's got a couple of winter storm warnings, some flash flood warnings, or flood watch going on in the southern middle part of Arizona. And then we got a little bit of wind out here in Kansas, as per usual, right? And then, of course, we have some wind warnings up here as well. In the Northeast there, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and then obviously Pennsylvania, and then Tennessee. And then up here, you've got North Dakota and Minnesota doing their thing. So that's the weather for today. Let's do some shout outs, shall we? And let's get to the comments here. Don Shonger, what's up? Good morning. Happy Monday morning to you. Hope all is well. Shannon, good morning to you. Hope all is well with you. Buck Brown, what's up? Southbound Pachyderm, what's up? Desert Okie Pam, good morning. How's the spot treating you? Trucking with MC, what's up? David Edwards, good morning. Grafton, with your Star Trek self, what's up? WT Johnson, good morning. Jose, what's up? CDN, check it out, CDN. Ta-da! That file you sent me, I've printed it out, and I will be studying. And I really appreciate that. It was weird. I don't know why FedEx couldn't print it out. FedEx office or Kinko's, what used to be Kinko's, but the lady at Office Depot had no problem. So, Truckers Anonymous, good morning. My name is Nobody. Good morning. Touch base with me today. Not sure where we're at on what you need. So, Mr. Zimmer, Hope you enjoyed your vacation. It's going to be it's going to be a it's going to be a well, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Any of you in the spot market, it's going to be tough. Late notification. How's it cracking, boss? What's up, Don? Hope you're enjoying that dedicated freight. Morning, CDN. Have a great week, says David. Bowl of Woods, what's up? Pigtail, good morning. I will also be touching bases with you today as well. So, I have a mini epiphany going on. Cheap Freight Hauler. Good morning, everyone. It is a cool 23 wind chill in North Carolina this morning. Yep. Yeah, from North Carolina all the way to eastern Texas. As far south as like Pensacola, New Orleans, and all that. It's got freeze warnings going on. 23 to them is like 50 below to us. So, anyways, I had this mini epiphany. So, we run into so many drivers. You know, I was watching Jeffrey Like's feed last night, and we're there. Everybody's, you know, there was like 4 or 5, I think 5 people on the panel there last night. It was a good discussion. It was about a mindset about running, right? You know, knowing when to deadhead, knowing when to stay in a good market. You know, and you know, and a lot of these discussions can become echo chambers. And one of the things that a person has to realize is that everybody has a different way of doing things. You know, the Dean runs different than Sandman. Sandman runs different than me. I run different than Music City Transport, you know, when I am running. And you got I'm careful to avoid blanket statements, because you could sit there and say, well, don't go to Florida, or don't go to Arizona, or don't go to North Dakota. But the reality is, what if you live there? And you can tell the person to move, but that's not usually an option. And so what would be better than telling somebody to just move is building your business on around what your needs are. If you need to be home every weekend and you live in Phoenix, it could be a challenge. But you would want to create a system in your costs and create a system on how you do things so you can achieve those goals. In other words, deal with the hand that you're dealt. If you live in Miami, you have certain challenges that a person that lives in Green Bay, Wisconsin doesn't have. If you live in Atlanta, you have challenges that maybe someone in Portland, Oregon doesn't have, and vice versa. If you live out west, you're constantly dealing with winter, you're constantly dealing with mountains. So your trucks is going to react different, your work's going to react different, your lanes are going to react different. And you can't just, if everybody moved to Midwest, well, you know, that were truck drivers, you know, then there'd be no reason to take freight out west or out east, because no one would be living out there. So it's an unrealistic expectation. A better expectation, in my opinion, is to master the hand that you were dealt with and recognize the challenges that creates. You know, if you have a 10-year-old truck, what challenges does that create versus somebody who's got a brand new truck? Their challenge is going to be different than the old truck person. If you need to be home every other day, that's going to be challenging. Is it doable? Maybe not in the spot market. Notice I use the word maybe. There are people that can accomplish that, but it's few and far between. And so if it's something that's not normal and you got to go beyond the norms, well, you better have a mindset that takes you beyond the norms. That's how I look at that. If you want to be better than 90% of the people running the spot market, what sets you apart from those 90%? Is it your ability to book loads? Is it your ability to negotiate? Is it your ability to work harder, not smarter? Is it your ability to work smarter and not harder? Is it your ability to do both? What sets you apart from the other guy that's calling TQL for your $1.60 mile freight coming out of Oregon? What sets you apart from that? If I hear stories. I've got a friend of mine that has a story. He had $100 in his pocket when he went to Schneider orientation and had one of their lease trucks, and he had to be home every weekend because of special needs at home. The family took the sacrifice, I believe, for the first month until he kind of found his groove, and then he found his groove, and he's now got his own authority. He's had multiple trucks. He's had direct customers. That person is doing pretty good. He still struggles with things, but see, people look at that story and like, well, I can do it now. I don't have a good credit score. I don't have but $100. I'm going to be a successful owner operator. Well, do you have the same mindset that person has? Because that's what got him past that, but that's not the norm. Because I know people that were set up pretty good. They have 20, 30,000 in the bank. They had good credit score. They got a truck with a ridiculous payment, and their mindset went to just crap. Didn't know how to manage their money. Didn't know how to keep from making emotional decisions. And they don't make it. Just like there are people that failed last year when the rates were sky high. And you have people that are making it now. What's the difference? We all got the same trucks. We all got the same freight. We all run the same lanes. I have this ability. I can look at a load board and look at locations and know what most of these locations are. Oh, Ardmore, Oklahoma, that's either Goodyear or Dollar General. Henrietta, Oklahoma, that's Glass. Pryor, Oklahoma, that's probably Coke or Refresco. We all run the same stuff. Munster, Indiana, lunch meat. Grocery warehouse in Houston, probably Cisco. Food warehouse in San Antonio, probably HEB. New Braunfels, Texas, Walmart, Sam's Club. Sanger, Texas, Walmart, Sam's Club. Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, Walmart, Sam's Club, or Target. Or maybe Target's at a different spot. But anyways, you learn to recognize this stuff. We're all running the same freight. So what are you doing different that makes you succeed over everybody else? Are you sitting there blaming the brokers? Are you sitting there blaming other drivers for taking cheap freight? That's entitlement. Are you sitting there wishing that the brokers had a minimum percentage? Are you wishing that there was a minimum rate per mile you're supposed to be making because we deserve it? The ones that aren't complaining about that are the ones that are doing well. It's about mindset. And the reason why I think we as truck drivers struggle with mindset is because if you create a lack, if there's, you have to be able to create a structure. Because I said 2 years ago or 3 years ago when the vid broke out that you were going to have to be mentally strong, physically strong, spiritually strong, and financially strong to get through what we're about to go through. Because with the ultimate low that we had when they were pushing loads for $1 a mile, I knew that was going to flip on the other side. We all knew that once the regulations were lifted, that we could run, that there was going to be an explosion of freight. There was a light at the end of the tunnel there. And I knew that point, that was going to create these dynamics that we've never seen before. And how do you deal with that? By being as mentally calm as you possibly can. You still get emotional. You just don't let your emotions drive you. And it's easy to do that when you don't have structure, when you don't eat right, when you don't sleep right, which is what majority of truck drivers do. I've been blessed with some home time, and I've been blessed with being able to create some structure. And so, if and when I get back on the road, I'm going to have to do the same thing. I'm going to have to create structure, create routine, and then get my mind up here, set. Because I think we're in for a rough ride. I think we're in for a tough time if you're running spot. Some of you are already feeling that pinch. No one's going to hold your hand. There are people that want you out of business. They want you to make those mistakes. They want you to just go away because there's still too much truck capacity. You see it in the truck stops. You see it in the fuel islands. You see it on the low boards. And it's people just want you gone. So if you don't have your act together, if you don't have your numbers right, if you don't have the right mindset to just deal with what you have, and that's what they touched on last night on Jeff's feed, is, strategic deadheading. Because sometimes you have to go to a dead area. If you live in Phoenix, you have no choice but to come out of Phoenix when you get back on the road. If you live in Florida, you have no choice but to come out of Florida. So this whole, well, just don't go to Florida. I try not to be that guy, because what if you have no choice? So if I lived in, like, say, Denver, I would be like, okay, how do these carriers get out of here? How do I get on those lists? And I did that. So years ago, when I was still fresh and new to the spot market, I had a buddy of mine, had his own authority, lived in Dallas, Texas. It was when rates started to really drop in 2018. They were starting to lower. And there was a point where volumes were affected, and I was realizing that the best freight coming out of here, best paying freight, was going to Dallas area. And I'll get to the comments here. And everybody said, don't go to Dallas, don't go to Dallas. Rates coming out of Texas suck. Don't go to Dallas. And so, you guys ever watch Beavis and Butthead? Every now and then, Butthead will have like a faint, light bulb come on. That's what happens with me. This faint light bulb came on and said, "Hey, talk to your friend Big Rob that lives in Dallas. See what he's doing." So I called him up. And he said, "Steve, here's what I do. I take that $1.25 and I wave at the people sitting at the truck stop waiting for 2 days trying to look for that $2 mile freight. I take that up to Kansas or Missouri. And then from Kansas or Missouri, I go to Ohio, Then I go from Ohio to maybe Wisconsin or Michigan, go back to Ohio, and then I take a long one into Dallas where I get my money, and then I'm home for the weekend. I'm grossing about X amount per week doing that. He goes, that's the thing, man. You just got to go. If I sat and waited 2 days for that $2 mile freight out of Dallas, I'd never leave the house. And then I was like, awesome. And that's why you need to surround yourself with sound people that don't get all flustered in their feelings. You don't see the CEO of JB Hunt or the CEO of Snyder griping about the spot market or griping about drivers not knowing their numbers. In fact, they take advantage of the fact that you don't know your numbers. If you want to lease on with them, people talk about predatory companies, predatory leasing companies. They don't want you to have spreadsheets. They don't want you to know your numbers. They want you to be emotional. They want you to go, I want to be a big bad owner operator. So guess what? My credit's shot. I have no money in the bank, but man, this company will give me a truck right off the bat. Brand new truck. That's better than my friend down the road that's got a 6-year-old truck. Sucks to be him. Ha ha ha. And then a year later, you wonder why you've lost your health, you've lost your family, you've lost everything, and you're burned out, and you hate the industry. They'll just chew you up, spit you out, and get the other guy, get the next guy. That's how this industry works. Is that predatory? Absolutely. But there's an easy solution to that. Don't be don't be manipulated. Don't let your emotions rule your roost. Been reading Ryan Mickler's latest book. There's a whole chapter about emotions. Emotions are good. As a man, having emotions is good, but they're a gauge of something, not the process to something. In other words, okay, why am I feeling anxiety when people say, let's go over my numbers? Well, probably because deep down inside, I know that I really don't have this together, and that's going to obliterate what I thought in my head was going on. The mega carriers don't want you to know those numbers because when you sit back and you realize that you're making a little bit more than a company driver, but you're paying all the bills, they don't want you to know that. If your goal is to just drive a truck and make as much money as possible, well, now we can 1099 you and call you an owner operator, even though you're leasing the truck. Well, you're a business owner, so you're a business owner operator. It's okay. This is part of the game. And then you have those weeks where you can't afford hamburger for your family because you made $0 because you had a breakdown, or because your load's canceled, or because you're stuck on I-80 in a snowstorm for 3 days. It is. It is the deep, dark, ugly truth. And sitting here from an office perspective, it's allowed me to sit back and realize the weaknesses in my own operation. And it's allowed me to see the foundation cracks in everybody else's. Not everybody, but most people. And just like I predicted, man, this market is taking people, chewing them up, and spitting them out. The market doesn't care about your feelings. The market doesn't care about your family. The brokers don't care about your needs. Most of them. Some brokers do. The good ones do. Well, guess what? The good ones aren't searching for the one and done carriers on the DAT board or on the 123 low board. They're emailing you, they're calling you, like Shannon. Her and her broker talk to each other at 2 and 3 in the morning, and she's booked out a week ahead. That's how you do it. Conomowoc is Kroger Roundies. Okay. Well, there's also a Walmart at Conomowoc, too. All right, so let me get to the comments here. $26 here in St. Louis, Pneumatic Brit. How's that new engine running for you? 30 in Henderson. Good morning, fellow truckers. Just booked a pretty solid load out of Georgia going to Denver. Kind of excited. This will be my first trip into Denver in a semi. Have fun coming out. I've got a few strategies for that, Killians. Dan's Hot Shot, good morning. Reefer 77, good morning. Yeah, out of Georgia, and I couldn't believe the rate. And it's a 1-1. There you go. Sup, Nomadic Brit. You never called the other day. I was hoping you knew someone that drove for CAG. Georgia has been decently strong lately, probably going to hurt coming out of Denver. Yeah, and that's the thing. Atlanta is a sleeper market. Sometimes it's hot, and sometimes it's just lukewarm. I've been able to get some decent rates out of Atlanta. I'm not afraid to go to Atlanta. It's not like, deep South Georgia or northern Florida, but, it's better than those numbers, but Savannah can actually be a good spot too. Pigtail, you mean have a business plan? Yep. The only person I know is TC Boggs, who's a CAG driver on their Cairo division. He is a YouTuber. There you go. Got me one for $235 coming straight back to Georgia. Usually I load and unload 4 to 5 loads in a week. Been changing up my game here, just doing 2 longer loads. Been working out a lot better. Yeah, the long game seems to be doing a little bit better, to be honest with you. But those are good numbers, Killians. Good on you, man. DIY, good morning. Low board whisperer. Low board. Yep, Shannon, we're gonna arrange that for you. Spot on knowledge. Thank you, MC. Spiritually strong. We'll let you see the truth. There you go. Blow up those caves. Cheap rent, I'm guessing. Ibanez guitars, S series thoughts. They're a good guitar. If we want to completely derail this topic, but I like them. There's different levels of S series. The higher end ones are usually better, but they're not bad. Depends on what your needs are. But they're good all around for anything. Deep, dark, ugly truth. Well, look, people get into this game wondering, look, if you have this entitlement mentality, then you're your own worst enemy. I've been entitled. Look, I speak these things not because I think I know better than you, because I've experienced them. I've been the guy that sat in the truck stop waiting for that perfect load. I've been the guy that sits at home because nothing looks good. Still am in many ways. But at least I understand. Gee, Steve, why do you not want to run right now? Well, because of this and this and this. At least I understand that. What's up, Killians? That's a decent run. Just finishing a month. Reno to VA, Tennessee to Reno Virginia to Salt Lake to Atlanta. That's a man. You're a hard runner there. T-Bone, what's up? Engine is good. Good deal, man. Good morning, Snorelord. Getting my daily dose of positivity. I don't know if I'm being positive today. The other reality is return to normal. If normal was 18 months ago, not going to happen unless another pandemic. Look at 10-year trend and see average fuel costs and rates, insurance not lowering. That's a mouthful right there, CDN, and I agree with that. I knew that when I can like throw a rock and make $1,000 a day, with 150-mile loads, I was like, man, this is not gonna last. Get it while you can, and I did. I literally drove 2 states for months, making my $1,000 a day. That was so awesome. Now that same load's paying $450. It's not even worth the deadhead. But you know what? If I want to move, I got to do it, right? Or find something better, find something different. And there's a few loads out of here that I would do, and that still pay well. I just have to change the strategy. The ability to change your strategy when needed. Look, you could sit there and promise yourself that you're going to work 30 days a month or 25 days a month. But can you do that consistently for 2, 3, 4 years, until your truck's paid off? What about life events? What about seeing your kids grow up? What about health? I imagine the majority of you aren't too healthy right now, both physically and mentally. And that's where a lot of our problems lie. You're sitting there, you're emotionally eating, consuming bad foods, not sleeping right, and you're looking at your only options is $1.50 to get out of where you're at. What do you do? How do you handle that? What does a professional do? What does the 10% that are making it? What do they do? Call your friends up. Hey, what should I do? And then ask them, why should I do it that way? I was frustrated last week because there's a few things I told people, and if they would have just done it, they wouldn't have sat. Or struggled with whatever issue they had. Not that I'm some be all end all, but I do have some insight. I do know a couple of things. And it's easy to predict the future for me. Wow, that person's gone out of business because he just sat for, days on end waiting for that perfect load. Why do I know that? Because I did that. Luckily, I didn't go out of business. During the vid, I sat for 10 days. Hell no, I ain't running for $1 a mile. Screw that. Then after about the 8th day, I'm like, nah, I got to do something. And so what did I do? I sat there and evaluated, okay, Steve, why are you being an emotional little bastard? Why are you being a crybaby? Okay, let's solve that problem first. And then I thought to myself, okay, what can I do to maximize my profit? Wow, fuel's cheap. Short runs, here I come. If I'm going to make $250 a day with these rates, I'm going to at least do it with the least amount of miles as possible. And that's what I did. And it strategically placed me in a good position when the rates started to come up. Meanwhile, people are like, "Oh, stay home, take, get unemployment. Contractors can get unemployment. Get the PPP loans, get the EIDL loans. Stay at home." No, I did get an EIDL loan, but it was like literally 10 grand. I put that away, forgot about it. They ain't taking my house over 10 grand, right? No risk there. And I just went to work. Quick hit, good morning. Take your current business costs to create your new normal. There you go. And Pigtail has a spreadsheet that he's worked on that I can't wait to bust that out. Starting to realize I shed more than my puppy. Shannon, the amount of hair that I have in my truck that I have to remove is it looks like I have a dog, which is if I had a dog, it would be crazy. I'm a hairy dude that's losing a lot of it. And yeah, you could swear that I had a dog in the truck at times. YouTube won't allow me to post an email. I'm not wrenched. Just go about my page on my channel, and my email is there. Helicopter money coming again. Everyone will be spending their check. Understanding market indicators is crucial. If you know your numbers now, you have a business and not a hobby. There you go. I treated it like a hobby. In some ways, I still do. But I can tell you my exact cost per month. The raw fixed cost for my truck is $1,600 a month. 15 and change. And guess what? May 9th, I will be getting a boost of $7,700 that I don't have to pay in for the trailer. The trailer will be paid off. $7,700 a year is what I pay for that trailer. And that's going to eliminate my costs even lower. Now, my truck has asked for more money, so that will make up the difference. So, but right now, my raw cost, if I don't move, is about $1,600 a month. What did those $1,000 day loads pay pre-pandemic? About 750 CDN. Probably anywhere between 600 and 750. So the shorter ones from Kansas City to Springfield pay about 600, 650, 700. And then the ones from Arkansas up to Sedalia, those were paying about 8 or 900. They got up to 13. But I averaged about 1,000 a piece on those. I think the dean was running them and he got a little bit more. But I knew, I basically utilized when they came out, right? And so a lot of pallet loads. That's the other thing. But when a market is about to explode, here's an indicator that Pigtail was talking about. We'll go back to his comment. Pallets. When the market's about to bust wide open, guess what? You will see an increase in shipment of pallets. Schneider, I moved a lot of pallets with Schneider. I moved crappy ones. I had to pick up really nice ones out of an Amish farm in Ohio. That was fun. And then I've done the cheap Chet pallets that crumble as the forklift takes them off the truck. I've gone through a lot of nails in my tires because I was running pallets so much, and pallet loads stopped, and I knew that we were in trouble. Pallets are an indicator of what the market's going to do. The red tape dealing with my warranty company to get my truck fixed has been a process. Yes, Buck Brown. Those is it a third party warranty? I'm curious. I refuse to eat from truck stops. I go to Walmart and get healthy groceries for the truck. No fast food. There you go. MC. That's what you need to do. If you're young in your career, the slower you can keep that extra 50, 100 pounds away, the better. I mean, the better. That 50, 100 pounds creeps up on you. Guilty as charged. You guys wouldn't recognize me if you saw my picture from CDL school. Probably about what they're paying now, CDN. The market is picking up where 2019 left off prior to the coof. By the looks of the truck stops, rest areas, I don't think truckers have any problem sleeping. No loans for me so far, luckily. Oh, there you go. Tolga, what's up? So those loads used to pay $650, $750, now $450. I assume fuel is higher now than 2 or 3 years ago. That's the leverage for a higher rate. Say I used to get $650 lower fuel, leverage high fuel to push rate. And that's what I've done. But I've literally also had brokers say, I don't care about your fuel costs. A while back, I was having breakfast with, it was last year when fuel was skyrocketing. When Big Rig CEO and I were still friends, we were talking about the fuel, and he said, well, I should be getting a better rate because of fuel. Fuel's higher now. And he literally had a broker yell at him, I don't care about your fuel costs. How do you negotiate with that? That's the trick. Find the brokers that do care about fuel costs. Find the brokers that you have a relationship with that will adjust your rate for the fuel costs. Because I have another friend that did exactly that. He called up this broker, these loads that he's predominantly doing, doesn't even need a low board subscription, even though it's spot market freight. And he goes, hey, fuel's killing us, man. Is there any way we can increase this rate? And he got it. Why? Because he gave good customer service. And the broker did not want a one and done carrier. See, that's the thing. A lot of the bad rep that carrier or that brokers get, these are these brokers that want the lowest bottom line number and don't care about the product, don't care about the customer's needs, and don't care about you. And that's where you see loads paying, 89 cents, 90 cents, a dollar, because they don't care. You can have all this. I think Sage posted some resource that shows what the average cost per mile for each owner operator is. And guess what? How many brokers do you think looked at that? And number one, and number two, how many carriers actually know that number? Tennessee trucking. They don't care about your fuel costs. Absolutely. But see, CDN has proven time and time again that he is a broker that does care. He's a broker that does get things done because he thinks about the entire picture. He told me, Steve, if you become a broker or an agent, be the broker and agent that carriers want to work with. And he used a car sales pitch to tell that to me. I hate shopping for cars. I literally hate it. I despise it. I despise all car salesmen. I despise all car dealerships. And he said, Steve, what would you do if you owned a car dealership? How would you approach a person like you? CDN understands that as a broker. Go watch DIY's live feed with him. Go watch any live feed that CDN has done with me. Give me those numbers. Now, DIY did a good job with the interview, and so did CDN. Warranty through MHC, but yeah, third party. But luckily, it covered half the M frame being done. Well, that's good. True. I weigh 52 pounds more than trucking school 6 years ago. Yep. Hell, the dollar isn't worth what it was pre-pandemic, right? I need that Sage post on average cost per owner. But where can I get that, please? Well, if he's watching, he'll post a link. I don't remember where it was. MC, you and Tennessee are practically neighbors. They may not care, but it still falls into supply and demand. Fuel is a huge part of the cost of hauling that load. It is. Thomas Wilson, let me guess. What do you despise? You despise the fact that I'm not in the truck. You despise the fact that I talk about boring load board stuff. You despise brokers because you don't use them, which is fine. And you despise lazy truck drivers, and you despise people that aren't professional in their job. Do I have it on point? But we still love you, Thomas Wilson. It's hard to find many CDNs in this trucking world. Have you noticed any new manufacturing since the pandemic, or has all the freight still been kind of the same type? In the beginning, there was a lot of manufacturing, but a lot of warehousing was going on. Trailers are still being manufactured. Homes were still being manufactured. Now that the housing market has cooled quite a bit, I don't know what business construction's like, but I do know that if we look at the low boards, the Southeast is still on fire with their lumber. So, maybe not on fire, but at least hot and heavy on the lumber side. So, but I do know DIY told me that one of the biggest home makers had 60% of their orders canceled. And these aren't cheap cancellations. You can't just like, okay, never mind. It costs money to cancel these homes. And so when you look at the big financial, everybody's all doom and gloom about the banking system, okay? And look, I'm not an economist. I'm not an expert at that. All I know is that the less debt I have, if we go into a full-on depression, the better. And if all the indicators are screaming depression, and you listen to 100 different, um, analysts, and they're all saying the same thing, there's probably where there's smoke, there's fire, right? So let's look at history. What kind of economics were happening right before World War One? What kind of economics happened right before World War Two? Worldwide, not just us. Worldwide. They're beating an awful lot of drums for war here lately. Hmm. I think I think things are about to get real. So what am I going to do about that? Well, prepare and just do the best you can and keep going forward. Getting rolling to scoop this money. There you go. I'll be listening. When owner operators bought their truck, did any find out average owner operator cost and bought a truck and trailer new or used to be below average owner operator cost across the country? A lot of them probably didn't last year. If you bought a truck last year, your costs are way higher than, say, when I bought my truck. MHC was selling trucks with 380,000 miles last year for T680s for 120, 150 grand. That lot is empty. There's no trucks in there. Someone bought those trucks. I bought my truck for 60, 59.9. After my trade-in, that paid my trade-in basically essentially paid for the APU. I put an new APU on it. My trailer, paid 30 grand for it. That same trailer is 50 to 60 right now. I know people that have paid over $200,000 for a new truck. And I'm like, okay, you've got a hard road ahead of you. I know somebody that paid $200,000 for their truck and $80,000 for their trailer. Running the spot with no dedicated or promises of freight from anybody. Dead man walking. Thomas, see, I could read you like a book, my friend. Charles, good morning. Today's low board segment is brought to you by Thomas Wilson. I hate shopping, period. What? A woman that hates shopping? That one guy. I know that was sexist of me. I apologize. Are the rates getting better or worse? That one guy? Depends. Some have improved, some have not. I know that some of my normal stuff has dropped. My biggest frustration is not the rates. Here's what my biggest frustration is in the dispatch world. Ready? Calling or emailing on a load and getting a unprofessional response. That's been my big frustration. If you don't even have the time to complete a full sentence, I don't think I want to do any loads for you. For example, I had a project that wasn't completely dedicated to me, but Jeff said, hey, let's try to get this driver out of this area. And the area has multi-stop loads. That's what I was banking on, and that's failed me 3 times now because guess what? They're low on their supply, and the carriers that are there all the time, they've got that in the bag. Anyways, I see the broker post one on the low board. I contacted 3 different people on that account with 2 different phone numbers just in case my number was blocked. No response. And so I emailed this guy, and he goes, 2,000. Hey, this is how I emailed him. Good afternoon. I'm looking at your load, picking up from here, going to here, posted for tomorrow. Is this still available? If so, we would like to help you out. He responded with $2,000. That's it. Didn't tell me the product, didn't tell me the name, didn't tell me the times. And I emailed him back. Okay, well, what's the product? I asked him politely, what's the product? What are you looking for? How many stops are there? No reply. And I was Friday was a tough day for me mentally. That just pissed me off. And Stuart was talking about last night on Jeff's feed about he loves the email. I like the email too, but guess what? I'm not driving, right? But if you're driving, the email can be a bit of a task. And so if we're able to call on loads, that would be great. But a lot of them aren't answering their phone. To this day, I've not been able to get a hold of anybody at Nolan Transportation. I normally don't name out brokers, but I'm going to on this one. No one ever answers the phone or an email at Nolan Transportation. I don't know how they're moving loads. But yet they're posted. Yeah. Yeah, TC Boggs, it is nuts. Now they're back down a little bit, those prices, if that's what you're referring to, and but still not where it needs to be. A $60,000 truck, 4 years ago is now still it's still 80. Just drive your truck and be happy. Well, I'm with you on the Yankee part, Thomas. You'll find no argument there. How much do you think you paid in interest for your $60,000 truck? Um, my interest was about 9%. So multiply 9% times 60. I paid it off a year early. No, 6 months early. I paid it off early. I could pay off the trailer early right now, but I've decided not to because I think there's a penalty. That's the way BMO works. So I'm now my last payment's double. Like my payments are $629 a month. I think my final payment in May is going to be like 1,200, 11 and change. Yeah, you got a good deal on that truck. Uh, Nevada seems to be hating his payments. I have not watched Nevada's latest videos. I noticed that he put out his numbers. I know his fuel numbers, and right there, those are astronomical. But yeah, anybody who's got a big truck payment right now is hating life right now. Trust me. I can go out and do these $500 loads and still make money, but not if I had, $4,000 a month truck note. I couldn't do that. I'd have to run like the Dickens, like him and his wife do. And guess what? That's not me. I've already missed enough years of my kids' lives. I've done the sacrificing. I've almost lost my marriage because of this job. But we don't talk about that, do we? When everyone on spot was getting $5, $6 miles, making the same I'm making now, 250 to 350 miles, still making that now. It's about consistency, baby. I heard Tell Snorelord is a New Yorker, y'all. Um, I actually my blood roots do come from the Northeast. So, Tom, I think if Thomas really knew me, I don't think he'd like me. Oh, by the way, Thomas Wilson, I did a guitar feed and you were nowhere to be found. I did a guitar feed. I busted out my new acoustic and you were nowhere to be found Saturday night. I also hate the unprofessionalism of someone working from home and hearing kids and TV and stereo in the background. That is true. Well, a lot of that, a lot of people having to work from home. If I had if my kids were little, this job would be a little bit harder, quite a bit harder. But I mean, my kids, quote unquote, are 21 and 18. So he likes guns. The Yankees, you shouldn't have. I think you shouldn't have one. Go out Stewart's Lifey last night. He has a great and small email strategy to negotiate via email. I did hear what he said on Jeff's feed, and that's a great strategy. I have like I utilize Google Chat, and so I have the truck, trailer, phone number, all the driver's information So when I get emails, say, okay, I need driver information, I just copy paste, boom, there it is. And so Stewart's strategy is a branch off of that, and I like that. I'm gonna start utilizing that. Because when loads are going so quickly, to type out good morning, I am looking at your load, sometimes takes too long, especially me. Even though I can play guitar, I'm a horrible typist. I'm a finger. I'm this guy. Do 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 do. You know. Yes, you did pay off your truck 6 months, Mr. Pale Rider. Good to see you up and around. Toga's going to listen. I don't think Thomas likes you now. I don't do much with social media anymore. Too many fakes on and liars on there. I hear you. Fakes and liars have always been around, though. So that's interesting how my microphone is hidden by the green screen. Thomas, do you think I'm a fake and a liar? Probably not, since you're on here. Dennis, what's up? Randy, good morning from chilly in Florida. Yes. Yeah, Florida was what? What'd you tell me the other day? 28 degrees? Okay, good deal, Thomas. I'm glad I'm on your good side. By the way, Thomas, I bought a whole, I think I sent you the text, about a whole case of Freedom Pills. But need to go to the range. You need to come through Springfield so we can hit the range. That's what we need to do. So it's 8 o'clock. And we can at least show the market maps. You, sir, are a genuine hair shedder. I am. I am a hair shedder. I'm a hair shitter. CB, what's up? Peace from Columbus, Ohio. More likely, that's where I'm going to run when I get back in the truck. And Thomas, I'll be getting back in the truck next month in April. All right, let's do Van. Let's take a look. Mr. Wilson, you're in here. Let's look at some Indiana rates. Let's see what you're making compared to what's being posted. So let's do share screen. All right. So there's your better states. Green is good on this map. This is the 123 low board, by the way. 48065 is the code if you want to check it out. Don't take my word for it. If you want to see if this is a good low board for you or not, you can do that on your own. You don't need me to tell you. All right. So Indiana. Let's look at our freight in Indiana. It's one of the better states. Evansville to Pleasant City, Ohio. Brooke, Indiana to Tustin, California. 210 a mile to go from Columbus, Indiana to Shelby, North Carolina. Muncie, Indiana to Tampa, 25, 243 a mile. Let's take a look at that one. So about 2 days drive, 2 days work. That's still $1,000 a day. Wooden floors required, so that means they're probably gonna nail something to your floor. Which, depending on what you want, what you need, what your trailer is. It's not a big deal. I used to avoid it. I don't think I'm going to avoid it anymore. Evansville to Pottsville, PA, also $248 a mile. $1,800 is the full revenue. 39 and change. If you can get a hold of this broker, they're above the average for 123, so that's good. So this is probably something that last minute that someone fell off over the weekend. So it's probably that. That wouldn't be a bad one. So you got to look at what's coming out of PA, though. $302 a mile to go from Bluffton, Indiana to Savannah, Georgia. They're at 1,600, right at the average. I'd probably get this for about 18. Leverage the fact that it sucks to come out of Georgia sometimes. 11,000 pounds, so it's light. So if you can't get them up on the rate, at least your fuel costs will be lower. That's also for today. Bluffton, Indiana, Savannah, Georgia, Axle Logistics. Not a bad broker. And then Savannah is probably going to have a lot of port freight coming out. Not a lot, but enough to get you out of there. That's a load I would probably do right there. Jeffersonville, Virginia, or Indiana, sorry, going to Laverne, Tennessee. Pickup today, drop today, 648, 343 a mile. Like the odd number, that's a negotiating tactic. That odd number is a negotiating tactic. Bottled water. You're going to call them and going to say, this is all I got in it. And if they don't get this covered soon, it delivers at 3 p.m. So where's it delivering in Laverne? That's a good question. Bottled water, I'm going to assume it's probably a grocery warehouse or a Walmart. Is there a Walmart DC in Laverne? Plainfield, Indiana to Jacksonville, Florida, 2,000. They're at 225 a mile. So obviously the better rates are going to Florida. North Manchester, Indiana, going to Muskegon, Michigan. They're on the western side of the mitten. Picks up tomorrow. They're only at $500. 204 miles. See, that was paying probably close to 800 or 900 last year. Shelby, North Carolina, from Columbus, Indiana. Light. They're at 1050, 210 a mile. Let's look at let's look at what's coming out of Shelby. So let's bring that up. Let's do the highest rate. $1.80, $1.75, $1.55, 270 to Miami. Oh, and Miami is going to be kind of a bear this time because of spring break. I noticed they had a lot of issues over the weekend. So there's going to be a lot of traffic up and down 95. So just keep that in mind on your transit times. Eden, North Carolina to Middleborough, Massachusetts. 273 a mile on that one. Let's click. Why is that so high? Retail goods picks up today at 6 p.m. Delivers Wednesday at 5 a.m. About 702 miles. It's not a bad run. Of course, the 6 o'clock pickup makes it stupid, but you got to do what you got to do, right? What are you going to get out of Massachusetts? Well, you just got to keep connecting the dots. All right, so let's do reefer here. You bought a 28 gauge Manelli, 12,000. Wow. My numbers are steady, 515, 395 out of Indy. MC Brinken Jacket, freaking cold here. G Star, good morning, Mr. Snorelord and all drivers. Greetings from Monroe, Ohio, empty and heading to my Monday pick to Kansas. None of my freight ever hits low board. I'm coming from Minnesota, so it's on, right? Thanks for a shout out on your vid. Chunk with MC, no problem, bro. Mark Ely, good morning. So let's look at Texas reefer freight. Let's see what that looks like rate wise. We got Plainview to Middletown, PA, $1.72 a mile. For 1,600 change miles, 29,000 pounds. Now, the problem with this is you're going to take a hit coming out of Pennsylvania for the most part. So, a bad market to a bad market. There we go. McAllen, Texas to Atlanta, Georgia, $3,400, right at the average. $2.99 a mile, 42,000 pounds. Picks up today at 12 and delivers Wednesday at 12. So this tells me that they're waiting until the last minute. If you're a team, really look for those. Let's take a look at Wisconsin here. I've got to get a truck out of Wisconsin, I think, tomorrow. We've got a load that picks up tomorrow at noon, going to Pottsville, PA for 9 p.m. on Wednesday night. They're at $288 a mile, 2,500, 33,000 pounds, a load of cheese. There you go. That's a good load. Let's see what the broker looks like. I've never used Gen Pro. Oh, they got an F credit score. Thunder Funding. Might have to double check with Factors Network on that one. Here we go. Darren, Wisconsin, going to Westfield, Massachusetts. Picks up at 9 o'clock tonight. Delivers Wednesday night. So you're probably looking at Thursday for your next load. 39,000 pounds frozen. So your fuel costs are going to be higher. And it's 38 and change. So tolls are going to be a little bit more higher. And then you got to look at what's coming out of Massachusetts. Wisconsin, Atlanta. Kind of low for that rate. Yeah, see, 24 is the average. 1,800. So I have to ask myself, why are they doing that? Why are they posting that rate? Is the Atlantic market showing on their computer stuff? Is it showing really hot right now? So I would look at the rates coming out of Atlanta first. Wonder why this is so low. So you look at the indicators, and okay, so if Atlanta's hot right now, why? Well, is it produce? Is there something going on? That's the kind of thing that I look at. Another one, Wisconsin to Gonzales, Texas, kind of a low rate going into Texas, which we've seen the rates coming out of there aren't great. So this makes me think it's more of a broker thing than anything else. And sometimes you call these brokers and they want a one and done lowest price possible carrier. And those loads tend to be the ones that have the most issues, like pickup delivery numbers, appointment times. I had a truck show up at a Kroger. His appointment was at 4. He thought it was at noon. The Raycon said noon. Here we go. DIY can grab this load and come visit me. Mossany, Wisconsin, going to Springfield, Missouri. They're at $271 a mile. Food and beverage, is this van or reefer? No, reefer. So let's look at what's coming out of Springfield. 118 loads. See if anything's going up to Wisconsin. So we scan this. It's tough. Okay, here we go. Kenosha. So let's look at this. Lowell, Arkansas to Kenosha, Wisconsin. Average is 212 a mile. Poultry, which is the normal for Northwest Arkansas. So you can make a pretty good turnaround with these two loads. You'd be over $1,000 a day on those. Easy breezy. And they're not paying to go into Florida. That's wild. Here we go. Steamboat has Mossonee, Wisconsin. Obviously a cheese distributor up there. Boonville, Mississippi. They're at 2,000. They're above average. Is that right, DIY, if you're still watching? Probably not. He's a busy guy. He's like Jeff. Jeff barely watches my videos, too. They're busy people. They ain't got time for this YouTube nonsense. What are you going to get out of Mississippi? So let's look at those rates. So they're at 212. A lot of stuff coming out of Mississippi is going to deeper southeast. Here we go. Jonesboro to Topeka. That's probably going to be Target. I'm sorry. It might be pet food related too. There's a pet food distributor up there. There's also Frito-Lay. Frito-Lay's up there in Topeka, so they might need potatoes. But with it being Jonesboro, I'm going to guess it's probably poultry. So it might be rice, actually. But rice usually doesn't need to be refrigerated. So, all right, let's look at flatbed real quick. Step deck and flatbed. We'll look at Oregon all by itself, man. Hey, look at me, look at me. Brookings, Oregon to Seminole, Texas, $1.97 a mile. Here we go. Brookings, Oregon, Camarillo, California. Picks up tomorrow at noon. Flatbed or step deck, 48,000 pounds. Right now on I-5 there. It's paying $254 a mile. 258 is the average. As you can see, California was yellow on that other map. So look, there's only 14 loads. Nevada, Arizona, California, Portland. Let's take a look at this one going to Portland. Can you make money going back and forth? 217 a mile is the average. Tractors, 19,000 pounds. That might, and I've heard other people say a good lane is up and down I-5 if the weather can just cooperate. Then Oregon costs, but your costs are going to be higher. Fuel, Oregon permits, mountains, fuel mileage. So do I think we're at the bottom of the market yet? I'm seeing a lot of same day pickup for a better rate. I've stopped predicting what the bottom is. I want to think that we're on the bottom, but that's an emotional answer. And that's where I can see some of the strategy of waiting till the last minute to book is to grab that stuff, but man, that's tough if you can't find. You got to be going to an area like if I go to Columbus, Ohio, I'll probably book maybe the day before, and I'm not worried if I have to book the day of. But if I'm going to like I don't know Boise, Idaho, or Salt Lake City, or Bismarck, North Dakota, or Laredo, Texas, or not Laredo, but Phoenix, Arizona, I'm going to want to book ahead to get out. It's not worth the extra $200 or $300 that you can usually get out of a desperate broker that mismanaged the time aspect to deal with the fact that I'm now sitting empty at a truck stop waiting to book something. And think about this. If let's say you're dispatched, okay? If you're a dispatched driver right now watching, I don't care if you're a lease or company, don't you kind of hate it when you don't know what your next load is? Don't you kind of hate it when you don't know how to manipulate your clock that you need to do? Doesn't that annoy you if you don't know what you're doing next? It would annoy me. It has. And there are times when you got to be strategic. Just like Deadhead, there's strategic waiting. There's strategic times that you can book day of. And there are times when you don't have a choice because your load canceled. So now what do you do? And so it's good to have skill sets on all fronts. I think that's the whole point of this whole session this morning. Buy more trailers, get on some of that contract freight. I would love to. But even Schneider's wanting like 20 grand for piece of crap trailers still. Nothing ruins a good spot faster than more people. I've been using Canada Freight more. It seems like I can make more money doing this. Florida has folks pulling produce out. Maybe why it going in has dropped. There you go. You're looking at market indicators. They don't want you making profit both ways. That would be just greedy. I know, right? And I've had brokers like, well, you're going to get your money coming out. I'm like, really? You have no idea what I'm going to do when I get to Texas or to Arizona, do you? Quit assuming what my business model strategy is. Yeah, there is a lot of life plans coming out of Florida, but is it enough to justify paying you less than $2 to go in there? No. Get some sleep. My unscientific prediction is that we will see volumes increase between now and the end of June. Then summer will get slower. Just my guess. CDN. That's a good. That could be a good prediction. At least we can hope on that prediction, right? So with that being said, I think I'm going to end this feed. Guys, 48065 on the 123 low board. Try it for 30 days free. You don't need an MC number to check it out. And, pigtail, I'm not done yet. And you get everything for $35 a month after that. It's lower than the DAT. I mean, there is lower volumes than the DAT, but if you just need a backhaul or if you just want to explore markets, you think about buying a truck and joining us here in the trenches, then take a look and see what you can do, right? So with that being said, also thank you for everybody that supports the channel. We had fun Saturday night with the guitar feed. I'm not that great of a guitar player, so if you want to make fun of me, that video is still there. I've not put it to members only. If you're interested in a member, yet. If you're interested in being a member, hit the join button, figure out which plan you want, and also subscribe to the Snorelord OG channel where we don't talk about trucking that much. So anyways, guys, and gals, thanks for watching. And let me I should time this better. Strength for today, hope for tomorrow. Peace.